The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today and welcome to the AIC's Government Innovation Online Services. The question of what is out there? So just to start off, this webinar series that we're running is sponsored by the Department of Science, IT and Innovation, and we thank them for this service, and it is delivered by the Australian Institute for Commercialisation. Now a little bit about the AIC. We're a not-for-profit organisation and we're there to help businesses, small businesses, large businesses, government agencies and entrepreneurs in all of these services. And in fact, we'll be talking about a couple of those in today's webinar. So the purpose of today's webinar is to show you the range of some of the online services that are available and provided by the Queensland Government to help Queenslanders to innovate and grow their businesses. And we will touch on some of the other relevant online services that are available. So if you just give me a moment to change the screen, because this is an online program. So let's start with the Queensland Government's Business Industry Portal. There's a range of information on here and it can help you to step you through the process of what you're after. So for example, a lot of people ask about grants, and there is some information here, grant directories and various bits and pieces here. But I will say, as you can see scrolling down, that there isn't a lot of grant money available to small startup companies to produce new products and services unless you are already doing quite well in business and you are successfully selling. Now that's because the policy of the government is to assist businesses and to assist market failure, but you've actually got to be up there doing it first. So one of the questions I'm often asked is there money to help me get my business up and running? No, really you have to get your business up and running by yourself. But what is available is a lot of assistance from the government in terms of advice and websites and things like that to help you make the best decisions and to help you get your product or service to the market quicker. So you can see on this page here, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to flick through these pages, just quickly cover off what's in them, and since this webinar is recorded and you can go look at it on our website and go to these websites yourself again later. So as I talked about, assistance to help you grow the business, to make the process of getting it to the market quicker. As you can see, there's a various number of services down here. The Small Business Solutions Mentoring process is available in assistance with TAFE Queensland. The AIC in Events program, well, this is one of those events, come back to that later. And don't forget, your business and industry associations can also help you about this. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about, and the first part of deciding and helping you to bring your product or market to service quicker, is to understand market research. So I'm going to open up this page. Now here is some useful information on the government website about doing market research. And in fact, this is a subject I will come back to again in a moment from some of the other sites. But just to show you, there is good information available there. I'll now go back to the original site. Mentoring. Now don't forget that if you have a high technology idea, the government does provide support through incubators. Now iLab, QUT Enterprise Australia, the Innovation Centre the Sunshine Coast, and there are others scattered around Queensland. These people will help you focus on taking an idea to market, but they are looking for projects that can scale very well, which means that they're looking at a global market, and a lot of them are focused on high technology and software applications. But have a look at their websites. They will help you decide whether that's appropriate for you. Now moving down to the next part of this guide, and we're still on the Queensland Government's Business and Industry Portal. Support services available. Now the Australian business licence information could be useful. You could click on that and have a search for the grants. The AIC's website information, which I'll talk about in a little bit further, is also there. Commercialisation Australia, if you meet those criteria. If you're a manufacturing business looking to get into major infrastructure projects, the Industry Capability Network might be of assistance to you. The Queensland-wide Innovation Network, and I will go to the Innovation Toolbox in a minute, is useful and it provides these sorts of services. QMI Solutions, and one that's a little bit different, the Innovation Case Study Library. Now this library is quite good because it's a series of case studies of successful businesses, and it's worth reading through them. For example, Safety Culture. Now this is a Townsville-based business and it's been very successful at rolling out into the world, and this is a high quality interview with these people. So have a look at that later. That's a very good service there. Now moving on to innovation workshops and events. Here is a list of the sorts of things that are available. Now there are other business improvement webinars available as well, and they might help you. For example, there are ones on assistance with payroll tax, etc., etc. There's export available information from Trade and Investment Queensland. There are other events listed. Innovation clinics, which is something that the AIC runs, which is focused on bringing together businesses and government and research organisations to focus on a really major industry problem and find solutions to it. Again, there's links for those of you who are in the creative industries to have a look at, and I showed you the library earlier. Going through to the last page on this guide, how to help you decide what stage you're at and the processes to go through. And I'm now going to go across and have a chat at the first one of that, which is the Innovation Toolbox. If I can get across. So the Innovation Toolbox is a very dense and very useful resource of information for you. It helps you go through all the different things that you need to consider. For example, developing your idea. So it's quite dense in the information, but it asks you things like the key questions you need to assess. Down the bottom, if you have a look, it has tips, talks about things you need to consider like your competitive advantage, and all of these things are available as a downloadable PDF. So as you can see, it covers all the different parts of the process. It's a good resource. Have a look at that. Now I mentioned earlier the ABIS looking for grant information. Just a quick show, that's the website there for you. And that's accessible from the Business in an Industry portal in the Queensland Government website, as I said before. Now there's also the business website from the federal government. And as you can see, a little bit about grants and assistance, advice and support, and skills training. So don't forget that there's also that information available. There's information available there on the Entrepreneurs Infrastructure Fund, but that is designed for businesses that have a minimum of $1.5 million revenue. The Innovation Toolbox, as I referred to. Now another useful resource for innovators is QMI Solutions, who own the AIC brand, their website. And if you look here, we have some specialist topics, for example, innovations in food safety, collaborating with research organisations, questions about are you ready to collaborate, for example, for business-to-business collaboration. And we also have webinars that are derived from our one-day workshops that we talked about earlier, such as have you got a great idea, what's next, which helps take you through the process of defining the market opportunity for you, doing your market research, what you need to know about intellectual property and business models, a little bit about marketing, a little bit about funding. And if you find that useful, go back to that Innovation Toolbox, because that is that information in more depth and has a lot of downloadable PDFs. But another thing that might be useful, particularly if you're an entrepreneur starting up, is a Queensland Inventor service. Now this is the front page of the site here, has guides and templates, self-assessment, etc. Now you need to log into this website by joining. I'll come back to that in a moment. I can't access that easily. Go back to the YouTube site on the details to just show you. Now, as I said, for entrepreneurs and talking about funding and investing, you can see if you have a look at this website that there is some information on crowdfunding as a funding model. It's got information on lean startups for entrepreneurs, how to go about testing your idea. There's more information on business models and using the business model canvas. And then there's additional information as you go down on competitive advantage, etc., and more specific information perhaps if you're a manufacturing business on lean manufacturing. Now, one of the other questions we're always asked about is intellectual property. Now, here is the IP Australia website. Again, this has a lot of good information on patents and trademarks and designs, plant breeders' rights, etc. You can see it talks about getting your right IP, managing your IP, and so on. But remember, IP is a tool. It's great to have a patent application, but what you really want to do is have a product or service to sell on the market. So it's most important to focus on who are your potential customers, what will they pay for your product, what will they buy, before worrying too much about spending a lot of money on protecting your IP through a patent. Now, to go into this in more detail, I'm going back to the Queensland Inventor service and opening up the various sections. Now, this is what it looks like once you sign in and log in. Understanding your customers, you can see there's a whole pile of downloadable information there on market research. For example, I'll open up this one. Knowing your customer, downloadable PF. The focus is on delivering benefits to your customer. So you can see there's information there. Now, since we went to the IP Australia website a moment ago, let's have a look at intellectual property on this one. So, developing an IP protection strategy, conducting an audit, what IP do you have in your business? You have your brand, you might have copyright in training manuals, etc. Understanding licensing, and an intellectual property search guide, etc. So there's quite a lot of detail in the website here, but there's also some simple information that can be useful to people just starting up with their business. We have a series of startup guides here to help you think about the fundamentals of running a business and the expenses involved and business plan templates. And we have a little bit of information on funding. Are you ready for investment? Can you approach this? Can you answer these questions if your investor asks you, etc. So there's good information on this site as well. So the purpose of today was to show you the range of services that are available, all bits and pieces. Now we do have the capacity to ask questions, so if somebody wants to type in a question for me about anything in particular, I'll do my best to answer it. I will repeat again that this webinar is recorded, so you can go onto that QMI Solutions YouTube site, have a look at what we have there. But the best place to start is where we started, on the Queensland Government's Business and Industry portal. So that is the best place, all these link in. Okay, well, we don't have any questions for today, and this is only a quick coverage of what's there. I'll leave you to investigate it, and I hope that you find that helpful. Thank you very much for your time today. Goodbye.